Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for round 3 of New Dimension Racing's LFSCART Light Series in Live for Speed. The Formula XR today at Rockingham Oval, the defunct Rockingham circuit in the UK, which has been fantastically modelled in Live for Speed. It's such a shame that racing isn't happening there anymore. Unfortunately, it is a second-hand parking lot these days. You're watching Sim Broadcasts on Twitch and YouTube. I'm Peter Butcher, and joining me in the commentary box again for the NDR LFSCART Light Series, it's Travis Mehlinger. Hi, Travis.
Hello, Peter. How are you?
I'm really good. And today we have one of your favourite types of racing, oval racing. Travis, are you excited for this?
I am excited for this. This is one of my favorite types of racing. I think we Americans love our oval racing, and we've done a poor job sharing the joy of oval racing with the rest of the world. But we got a few people here today who do really enjoy it. A few who don't enjoy it so much. They've indicated in chat, but we got a few guys who are really good at this and enjoy it a lot. So this will be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. The Rockingham Oval is slightly more difficult than the other oval that you can get access to in Live for Speed because it's a lot more bumpy, it's a lot shorter, and the turns are a lot tighter. So there's more to do. It's not as wide as well, and that, I guess, is because it's modelled on a real oval. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to. We are at round 3, halfway through the season today, and next time out we'll be at South City Town Course on September 26th, and then the season finale at West Hill National at the end of the year on October 10th. Let's take a look at this track, this formidable track, the 4 turns of the Rockingham Oval, 2.4 kilometres, 1.5 miles. And today, Travis, we had a one-shot qualifying session, which is always interesting, plus a 102-lap race. So not the usual dual race setup for LFSCART Light, but just a single race. So no chances for the drivers to mess up the first race and then make up their places in race 2.
No, you're exactly right. Today is all about getting it exactly right and making no mistakes. One hot lap qualifying around an oval. You have to be so precise around an oval. The margins are so thin to find the most speed around the circuit. So you have to be perfect. You only get one chance at it. And then, as you said, only one race today. No second race, no reversing positions on the grid. You get one chance from the start to keep it out of the fence and off your competitors and try to do the best you can around what is, as you said, a pretty tricky oval.
It is really difficult, and in the Formula XR, the 2-litre inline 4 mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, it is tricky. 190 brake horsepower, 490 kilos that the drivers have to muscle around this track. It's still a really popular car in LFS. We love watching it, and we love watching it on the oval. The oval has featured in LFSCART Light in the past, and that's great that it's back this season. Let's take a look then at the Drivers' Championship, how it stands currently. It is Yoni Katila ahead of Gabor and Alexei Lemurto in P3. Botsy P4, Patrick P5. We've got a bunch of drivers actually in this series who have already, scored some points, and they're all going to go and scroll past your screen just now. Yep, excellent participation in this series. We've got 17 qualifiers so far. I think we're expecting a couple more to join, but there you are, Jarno Lehikoinen rounding out the standings there. Let's head very quickly to the Teams Championship. It's a domination at the moment for Team Sidus. They're so far ahead of anybody else. Race Green there in P2, World Class Lions P3, Fragmaster P4, and Pixel Air Attack Racing in P5. 15 teams have registered points so far for this championship. And before we go for our formation lap, Travis, I just want to look through what we just had before, which was our one-shot qualifying session. Now, taking pole was Pauli Peltikangas for Sidus, followed by Patrick Hall, a driver who's very, very good at the oval. And look how close he was actually in qualifying to Botsy there. Gabor got P3, then it was Yoni Katila P4, Daniel Balla, who's back from his travels, is in P5, Simas Talvicius in P6, Roni Krompush, who is another oval specialist, in P7 for Race Green, Jared Mead, Angry Angus Racing in P8 there, good to see him on the grid, Sean Lee for Air Attack Pixel, he's in P9, Velenov P10, Ayub El Hanouni in P11, Kai Puro for TOGP P12, Zdravko Topolniak for Fragmasters P13, not happy with his lap time in the session, but hopefully he can make up some place in the race. Timi Soini for World Class Lions P15, Kahula, who did very well last time out, he's in P16, then it's Magic in P17, Travis.
Yeah, the things I note here are Yoni did pretty well in his qualifying lap there on the second row of the grid. He will want to do well, stay out of trouble to further cement his pretty large championship lead. And then Zdravko Topolniak, way at the back in 13th. He won't be happy with that. I agree with you, but he is, I think, the most experienced oval driver we have in the field today. He is a specialist at going left and keeping his foot planted on the floor. I think we can expect to see him move up the order before the end of the race.
Yeah, so lots of drivers here with experience of oval racing, and some of them getting caught out in the one-shot qualifying session. Bit surprising there that the Fragmaster driver not doing so well at the one-shot quali. But there we go. It is what it is. I'm looking forward to this one. 102 laps or 2 hours around the Rockingham Oval, and we are just waiting for the grid to appear. I believe that the race briefing is underway with the drivers, Travis, so we'll just have a little bit of a wait while we wait for that to finish. It is Tilo Falkenberg who is directing this race again today, so you may or may not hear his voice popping up on the stream as he hands us the race control messages, which I expect to see a couple this race. Travis, we might have some full course yellows, some virtual safety cars, etc., because of the nature of oval racing. What do you reckon?
I think you're probably right. So you said earlier that this track is not as wide as the Kyoto Oval. Still plenty of space for these cars to run. The Fox, obviously a little bit smaller than the Formula V8. The Formula V8 would get around here so much quicker. The closing speeds would be so much faster, so a bit more risk. Fox is a bit more manageable. We've also got a smaller grid today than we typically have. I think interest in oval racing is down a bit from what we typically see for NDR road races. So plenty of room for these guys to run, but the car punches a pretty big hole in the air. The slipstream is pretty vigorous from fairly far back, and they're going to start close together. The way to run well around the oval is to run in a pack and trade positions. So even though the grid is small and they've got enough room to run, they will be pretty close together for 102 laps. So we might, I think we could see a safety car or some virtual safety cars when a couple guys get together, especially when cars start running 3 or 4 car trains, which is the fastest way to get around. 3 or 4 cars constantly leapfrogging each other. That's where it gets really risky. But there are guys in the race who are really experienced, really good at doing this. I've seen in chat they've been coaching the guys who don't do this as often. So I think they can keep it clean, but the risk is there, as you said.
Yeah, the last time you were in the box commentating on an oval race in Live for Speed was with Jonathan Palmer, actually, for the Fragmasters series. That was a great event, and I hope that we can repeat that together. I know I'm not quite as experienced as oval commentary as you and JP, but I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's one of my first times actually commentating on an oval race, so here we go.
Well, I can assure you it's relatively uncomplicated. You go fast and you turn left and you don't hit the guys in front of you or on either side of you, and then do that for an hour and you're okay.
Yeah, or 2 hours in this case. But I do recall that we needed some help, didn't we, from Zdravko himself the last time out, because the strategy in oval racing is a little bit more complicated than you might expect.
It is. So they will have a mandatory stop like they do in all of NDR's events. That is a feature of the rules package for the entire series. But on the oval, because you run together and the fastest way around the track is to run together, you want to be mindful of when the people around you are stopping. So if we look through voice chat, we can see teams there, individuals, I guess, privateers who are in in the race running solo, and then a few teams who are running together. So the guys who are running together, they will have planned ahead of time when they're going to make their stop. They'll probably go a little bit long, so they can run a lighter fuel load toward the end of the race. But they want to be really careful to coordinate their stops. And if after an incident, somebody spins off and the cars get shaken up, the gaps grow a little bit. They'll want to be strategizing during the race to be thinking carefully and watching the drivers around them to see when they're going to stop. Because if you stop by yourself and you don't have a partner on track when you come back out to run in the draft, you're dead. The pace is so much slower outside the slipstream that everybody has to be really, really careful to time their stops to make sure they have somebody to go with to keep the pace high.
Yeah, just a note from Race Control. On our graphics today, you will see 110 laps for the race distance. This isn't actually the case. This is a limitation of LFSCART. You can't set very fine intervals of laps after 100. So we will see 110, and then with a few laps to go, the clock will be reset, and we will see the last lap called. So we'll need to keep track of that. That is a bit of a weird one for today, but that is the way it is. So only a few moments left till the start of our 102 lap race. We will have 3 pace laps apparently. All of those will be unscored, so the lap count will be reset after those, and then we will be green flag racing for the better part of 2 hours. I believe the race briefing is almost finished, Travis, and we should see a grid very soon.
Yep, we've got just 1 or 2 drivers who have not yet gridded up. I see Yoni Katila is not yet ready. He has just clicked ready now, so we should see a grid in just a moment.
Here we go then. 2 hours of racing around Rockingham Oval set to get underway. I'm very excited. Round 3 of the NDR LFS Light Series coming right up.
Yeah, here we can see the cars lined up in pit lane. Feature of oval racing, as Pete mentioned just a moment ago. Another fun feature of oval racing is because we typically start under behind the pace car at slow speed. It's really, really easy to build the nerves before the start. With a standing start on the grid, you're out there by yourself. You've just got to dump the clutch and put the throttle down and manage the wheel spin, and then off you go. Here, you get some time to think about your competitors weaving next to you and warming the tires and thinking about your strategy. So these guys they've got 3 laps to try to calm their nerves, settle down a little bit, and then the key is the start. So Pali Peltagongas has it really easy out front. He will get to control the pace when the safety car comes off after the 3rd lap of pacing here. And then the drivers behind him, they want to be as close as possible. They want to be mindful of the drivers ahead and behind. They want to be watching the leader, which they should be able to see because the pack is pretty close together with only 17 cars out there. But it is to get as good a start as possible and to make as many positions or secure the position you already have off the start. You have to get a good jump on the competitors around you, and that's really difficult to do when the drivers around you are moving, when you've got competitors who are right alongside or right up behind you. They've got to be looking to both sides in the mirrors ahead and time it just right to get a good jump and carry the speed around the first few laps until the order shakes out into the normal race rhythm.
Yeah, we're just working our way down the 17-car field that we've got here today. You'll notice that a few drivers that you might expect to be further up are slightly further down, but we do expect that to shuffle very, very quickly as the race gets going. Of course, there's going to be an absolutely monster tow from the front runners, giving everybody behind a very nice slipstream as we head down. towards oval turn 1 at the start. Yeah, 3 pace laps currently underway. We are already on lap number 2 of those. And as we look further down this field, we see the likes of Daniel Balla, who is in P16 right now, Travis, and that's a little bit further down perhaps than he would have wanted to be at the start of this race.
Yeah, I think I'm sure he's a little frustrated with that starting position. I'm not so sure he's thrilled with oval racing either. I saw a chat message from him during the qualifying, or after qualifying had concluded, that something to the effect of ban oval racing. So I don't know if that was a joke or if this isn't his favorite and he's in it to try to secure points today. But yeah, he has some work to do from all the way back there. Though he does have some good drivers to go with. Zdravko Topuniak only a few possessions ahead of him. He is the oval specialist, as we talked about earlier. We had him in the box at the previous oval race we watched. So he has experienced drivers to go with. He'll need to settle in, find a good rhythm, find a buddy, and then do his best.
Also, a note that VSCs are not a thing today. The pit entry will close the moment that there is a caution thrown, and it will be opened at the race director's discretion. So, no VSCs, only full race cautions, essentially, full course cautions. And yeah, I am excited to go here. We are on the final pace lap, so our safety car driver, Stuart Baker, pulls away, and that will let Patrick Hall and Pauli Peltokangas set the pace side by side as we run up to the final corner. Obviously, Pauli is our pole sitter. He is the person who should be ahead at the moment. Patrick is slightly behind. There we go. Now he's slightly behind as they round oval turn 3. Travis, can you take it away for the start?
I can. Pauli Peltokangas controlling the pace as Stuart Baker drives away in the safety car. He'll be coming down onto the apron in just a moment. Stuart Baker entering turn 4 right now. Pauli Peltokangas sounded like he brought the throttle up a little bit, but he's backed it off. They're strung out behind these guys. Patrick Hall wants to be right alongside Pauli Peltokangas as Stuart Baker brings it down below the apron. Cars checking up. Oh, Pixel Attack newsroom car. That was Sean Lee checking up. Everybody getting all out of sorts there. Looked like a few drivers kind of struggled to time the start, and we got a safety car deployed. We will go around one more time with Pauli Peltokangas controlling the pace, Patrick Hall alongside.
Yeah, that was a botched start. We've seen it a couple of times. Drivers just aren't really that used to this sort of start. No practice, of course, and a little bit of confusion there. Botsy he didn't go at all as early as people expected, and yeah, we might see some penalties as a result of that aborted start because we don't like to see it here.
Yeah, I think we might. The drivers behind, further back in the grid, did not do a great job keeping the pack punched up, and I think Pauli went a little bit early. I don't know that he realized when he was allowed to go when the safety car came down below the line. So, yeah, Pauli, hearing in my ear from race control that Pauli accelerated and then backed off, so they aborted the start. But now Pauli in control, no safety car ahead of him now to throw him off. Coming around to turn 3, they'll come through this short chute into turn 4. And Pauli Peltokangas, as soon as they throw the green flag, he will be able to go. He could cheat a little bit and kind of start to slowly creep the pace up, but what he wants to be careful to do is not back off after he's decided he wants to go, because that is dangerous and will draw the ire and extra scrutiny from race control. Halfway through turn 4 right now, Pauli Peltokangas down low, really good grid behind, everybody bunched up nice and tight. Patrick Hall alongside Pauli Peltokangas should be pinning the throttle any moment now as they come out of turn 4 and onto the straightaway. Grid looking really good here. Green flag, Pauli Peltokangas going to come across the line first. They are 4 wide behind. That is another black car. A Pixel Air Attack newsroom down low, now 3 wide. Pauli Peltokangas all the way down to the grass. These guys are running a really low line down on the apron below the white line to shorten the track as much as possible. 4 or 5 wide behind these guys. Sean Lee has a head of steam behind Pauli Peltokangas. Has made 4 or 5 positions. Is going to look to the inside. Gets it a little bit out of sorts, but manages to gather it up. 4 wide into this corner. Some of these guys will want to back out. They'll want to string out. I see a car down low, nearly spinning below the apron, but everybody's still clean through 3 corners of the first lap, 4 wide into the 4th turn. Now sorting out to 3 as Pauli Peltokangas somehow going to lead the first lap in spite of all of the excitement behind him. Pete, what do you see yourself?
I just see a massive cars. This is fantastic. A first lap and no incidents so far. Amazing stuff. Look at this. We've got 7 or 8 cars involved in this first pack. And Sean Lee really impressing here. Down on the low line. We have 2 Pixel cars leading this race now. Simas Talkovicius currently in the lead. Sean Lee trying to take that second place away from Peltikangas. Gabor's had a good start. He's up to P13 at the back. And who's that on the low line? Is it Yoni? No, it is. Who is that on the low line?
I can't
It's
tell
Velinov.
either. You're right. It's Velinov. The positions are changing so quickly. It's hard to tell. Some of the competitors that we don't see near the front so often are hard to identify. But the Pixel Air Attack newsroom car is looking really, really good. Velinov take a really late dive into turn 1. That's a dangerous move and will draw the ire of his competitors out on the circuit. But the Air Attack newsroom cars, both drivers aware and prepared for him to make that move. I think if the biggest surprise for me at the very start of this race, Pete, is the Air Attack newsroom cars are so strong. I don't know that I expected to see them running very near the front, let alone 1-2 around the first couple laps. Yet there they are. Still 3 wide coming around the 4th turn on this 4th lap. And, we've got cars upside down into the wall. 2, 3 cars, 4 cars. There's 1 spinning. Yeah, 3 or 4 cars. Oh, that's Zdravko Toponiak, who went over and up into the fence and then back out onto the circuit. That car bent very badly. We've got Joni Kantila, the championship leader, on his lid just behind the start-finish line. You see Sean Lee coming through this turn right now. That car badly broken. He will be stopped for a long time, if not stopped indefinitely. No rear wing on that car. Huge accident. Safety car obviously deployed. Somehow Simas Talkovicius managed to avoid that, I think because he was in front of it when he came across the line. It looked like a couple cars, a few cars just got a little bit too close coming around the 4th turn, and then that precipitated a bigger accident. As soon as one car goes, the speeds are so high and the cars are running so close together that if one car begins an accident, there tends to be a chain reaction behind it. Pete, this is terrible for Yoni. Not what he wanted at all.
No, this is our championship leader on his roof. That is an absolute shocker for him and for us. You know, we did not expect to see this. I want to call this a lag incident. I don't understand how an incident that big could have been caused by anything else. So really, really unfortunate stuff here today.
Yeah, it really is. And looking down the order, so Yannick Attila started 4th, now running dead last on account of being upside down and pointed the wrong direction in the front straightaway. Pauli Peltikangas, the pole sitter, all the way at the back himself. He got caught up in that incident. I could see the suspension is bent pretty badly. Rear wing, too, broken on the rear of his car. Zdravko Toponiak back there as well. Sean Lee crabbing down pit lane. He might be able to make it back under his own power and get a repair, though that is going to be a very long repair for him.
Yeah, this is a heartbreak for the Pixel Air Attack racing team because, you know, they had such a good start and Sean was involved. So I can only imagine that there was some lag involved because obviously Sean is from Singapore and most of these drivers are European. So therefore, you know, sometimes, especially when you're driving that close together, Travis, you can just get these unfortunate contacts where there's some lag involved, and it was just an explosion of cars, and that's just a shame to happen so early in this race.
Yeah, it really is. I thought of that before the start, but we had enough to talk about that we didn't quite get to it. That Sean being in Singapore, whereas most everyone else here is in Europe. We might have one Brazilian driver. I know we have a few Brazilian drivers in the series, but I don't know if we have any Brazilian cars in the field today. But Sean Lee, a lot more latency than the rest of his competitors. It looked like everybody was going through clean, and then that just happens with lag sometimes. Really unfortunate, especially unfortunate that it caught Sean Lee and then a number of competitors. We don't know that for certain, but it seems like the most likely explanation because the racing was exciting and pretty close, but I think everybody had it pretty well in hand. But that's how it goes sometimes in sim racing. I think of it like a mechanical failure on a real car. Sometimes you drop a few packets and that's that. And then the nature of the racing means that sometimes a few people get caught in it.
Yeah.
At the back, we can see Pauli Peltikangas, Sean Lee trying to catch the pack. They should be pretty close now. As we see Simas Talkovicius coming across the line following the safety car into turn 1. Those cars at the back, they will be back with the rest of the pack shortly, and we should be coming around to a restart in this lap or the next one. Haven't heard the call, but we should be back under racing shortly.
Yeah, we'll get the call when it happens. We'll also see Stuart Baker disappear off ahead, which is a good clue. Safety car in this lap, apparently. So there we are. Good call, Travis. You'll start to see that gap open up and Tauk Vicious will hold the pace in his number 34. I love that livery. It's a JPL JPS replica, obviously with the pixel livery.
It does look really good. It is a gorgeous race car. Seems Taukavicius leaving a lot of room to the safety car. This is how it's done. He has a bit more experience than Pali Peltagongas, I think, at starting these oval races. Everybody nice and tight, single file. This should keep the restart a little bit less ragged than the initial start. Yep, as the pace comes up, Seamus Taukavicius, a good jump on Ayub El-Anouni in second place. Velinov in third. These cars are strung out single file. There's a little bit going on at the back, so a couple cars side by side, but now they have strung out into single file. This is where everybody will want to find a partner. Seamus Taukavicius is a sitting duck out front. He will not be able to run full race pace by himself. Everybody behind him going to have the benefit of the slipstream of the cars ahead, as we see a couple cars behind starting to go too wide. That was a Fragmaster car. I couldn't tell which one. That's Kaipiro coming alongside Gabor. So these guys now, 3 cars right here, could start to run a train. They will want to trade positions, running as close as they can to each other. They want to time their passing so that they are coming around one another and then making the pass coming through these turns, ensuring that the lead driver, once he's passed, doesn't have to lift. We can see Kaipiro alongside the, I can't tell who that is. I think it's Velinov on the inside. Yeah, Velinov left that a little bit late. He's going to be down on the apron, but the Born to Race car should be able to tuck in right behind him when he comes off the turn. That's how you want to time it. And he should be there it is, done perfectly. Should be able to tuck in right behind him, and these 4 cars can trade positions, leapfrogging to the pairs of them leapfrogging positions so that they get the benefit of the slipstream for the entire train.
Yeah, good stuff. I want to mention Gabor. He started last. He's in P3, almost P2 now, as he's on the inside of Ayub. We're watching Ayub El-Anouni, the Moroccan driver there in P3, getting taken there by Gabor. So Gabor up to P2. This is a monumental drive through the field. 11 laps in, and Gabor's made it from the back to the front.
Yeah, really good for Gabor's championship hopes, too. He managed to avoid that incident, even though it happened right all around him just a few laps ago. So he survived that to move up the order in 4th position right now. And his championship competitor is out. Yoni Katila deciding not to rejoin. He will finish 17th today, very few points. If Gabor can secure a good finish, he may find himself in the championship lead after this event is over, as we come 3 wide through the first turn. Gabor, once the lead, nearly gets into the pixel car on his right. Seamus Taukavicius 3 wide through the next turn. This isn't the fastest way around, but they're giving us a hell of a show, so we'll take it.
Yeah, they're going to end up bunching everybody back up again if we keep like this. And no complaints from us here in the commentary box as Borislav tucks in. Velinov tucks in behind Gabor again. Slots down behind El-Anouni and Taukavicius. We've got a 4-way battle for the lead right at the start of this race. And the guys behind, they aren't squabbling quite as much. So they're going to be catching up. So don't be surprised if we see the likes of Velinov, Pantola, Bala, Krompush and Hall getting involved in this very quickly.
No, they will want to sort this out if they want to keep this their own pack. That's the ideal way to get around, is to get a pack of 3 or 4 drivers who can work together really well and get a gap on the next pack, so that you only have 3 or 4 competitors to worry about, and then not 7 or 8. But as you said, a little bit cleaner in the pack behind. These guys, they're not as experienced in the oval racing, so they'll want to kind of feel it out, figure out the timing. As we can see in the background, that pack is getting a little bit closer, though it's a 3-car pack and not a 4-car pack. They dropped one of the drivers who was with them. Not sure who that was. Dan Bala in that second pack. He expressed some reservations about oval racing before the start, but he's doing pretty well, running in 7th, now up to 6th. Bounced back down to 7th. He's running there with Nico Patola. Now coming 3 wide into the final turn. This is the slowest way around. They want to trade those positions before they get into the corner, but getting it a little bit out of sorts. A lot of race left. They've got time to figure it out. These guys are smart and they're talented. But right now, running clean, no problems for the last 5-10 laps since we restarted, as we see Gabor shoot through to the lead. That's how you want to do it. He got a great head of steam, got the slingshot maneuver done before they went into the turn. These guys can run a line astern through here and start trading positions, and they should be able to drive away from the pack behind.
Yeah, speaking of the pack behind, we've got fierce battle now. These guys are, they are trying to get some sort of organisation down as the laps tick down, and I think they've just about managed it. We've got Nika Pantola there in the Sidus livery on the high line, tucking in behind Daniel Bala now, with Velenov leading this little pack, or not for long. God, these two getting really close together. They really need to try and sort this drafting out, Travis, so that they can close up to the 4 ahead, because 3 is quicker than 4.
It really is, and they've almost got it figured out. So Nico wanted to get through. He was all the way down on the apron, but he left the move a little bit late. There's not much you can do when you're carrying that extra speed, but to try to make the pass. So he didn't carry enough speed to get the pass done, into or at the bottom of the turn. Now we see guys checking up here to try to keep the draft. That ideally, as we've repeated several times, they want to be trading positions to keep the speed high, but. Sometimes you have to dab the brake a little bit to stay in line because it would be slower to put your competitor, up closer to the wall, running side by side on the way out of the turn. As we see, well, we had seen Mistakavicius out in front, but now it is Ayub in the Born to Is that a Born to Race car, Pete? I think it is. Out in front. Yeah, these guys running a pretty good pace. The 4 of them are sticking together, so they've got that much figured out. Ooh, as one car, that was Kai Piro, nearly got into the wall. He may have just touched it. Pete, one thing I have noted about this event, one thing that's interesting about Rockingham that we do not get on the Kyoto Oval is that the banking is pretty shallow. So there are actually multiple lines to go around the racetrack. As we saw just the shot back from Kai Piro there for just a second, we saw cars going 3 wide into turn 3. Because the apron is very much part of the racetrack, there isn't the really big transition from the banking because the banking is so shallow. You can run a higher line above the white line, or if you need to make a pass, or if you want to make the tighter line to defend your position, or to just shorten the racetrack, you can run down there. A lot more lines here than there are at Kyoto.
For sure, yeah. You can make the high line work here, and it's also less aggressive on the tyres too because of the nature of the banking and its shallower nature or less steep nature than Kyoto. So some drivers will not be as used to this, of course. Rockingham has been in the game far less time than Kyoto has, as we have another side-by-side battle for the lead. This is great stuff so far.
It is. These 4, they're not trading as much as they would like, but they're doing it enough to keep that gap to the pack behind. That pack behind now, the 3 cars who were chasing the lead 4 have fallen back to the 3 that were trailing them. So now they've got a 6-car pack trying to follow the 4-car pack. A little bit further behind than they were. That's a very late move down to the apron. Nearly had an accident there.
We've got a car
spinning. Yeah, so that was Patrick Hall spinning down into the apron.
Roney.
Oh, sorry, that was Roney. Yeah, we switched to Patrick Hall. Roney, something is broken on the car. It looks like he has lost a tire, but he is safely down on the apron. Is he going to rejoin, or is he coming into pit lane? No, that tire's inflated. I think he just lost control of the car really easy. No, now he comes into pit lane.
Suspension damage by the looks of it. That car crabbing fairly badly. Drama there for the race green team. They've luckily still got 3 drivers running in the race. But here we go, this lead 4 now starting to open that gap, 1.5 seconds almost to the pack behind, and they seem to have found a rhythm with 4 of them. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. They've started to figure it out. We can see the lead cars trading positions, and I think the 2 cars, just kind of the 3rd and 4th position cars, tend to trail. And that's a good way to do it. If you're running in the back of the draft, you can afford to just hang back, lean out of the throttle, let the slipstream pull you along. It's good to save fuel. One thing we didn't talk about, we talked about pit stops and the pit strategy in this race and how the drivers want to be really careful to make sure they are pitting around somebody or pitting when they know they will come out in a pack so that they can draft with somebody to keep the pace up. One thing we did not talk about is how, because they expect to be running in the slipstream for most of the race, they will run, basically when they set up the pit stop, they will run less fuel than they need according to the fuel calculator to make the race distance, because you can save so much fuel in the slipstream, which is another reason why it is so critically important to make sure that they come out with a slipstream partner, because if you come out all alone and have to punch a hole in the air yourself, all of that fuel that you expected to save is suddenly being consumed, and you might have to come in for a late pit stop for fuel.
Yeah, you can see how strong the draft is. We're riding on the rear end here, the gearbox of Simas Taukvicius's Pixel Air Attack racing car. And yeah, Gabor just drew up to the back of him and slingshotted straight past. And Simas has returned the favour as he retains the lead. Great stuff at the front, but they are being caught now by that pack behind. It's down to under a second now, the gap.
Yes, it is. And these two at the front, Seamus and Gabor, have figured out the strategy, passing one another, leapfrogging going into these turns. Notably, Seamus Takavicius, he appears to be far more confident than his competitors running down on the apron. We can see the black and white car there alongside Dan Bala. I think is that Patrick Hall? That's not Patrick Hall. It's hard to tell with the positions trading. But the black and white car that we have at the front of this shot, all the way down on the apron, coming through turns 2 and turn 3, and the car looked like it was on the very edge of grip. Seamus Takavicius out front, running down on the apron when he's making those passes. The car much more stable, much more in control. He is looking really strong in the front pack right now.
Yeah, that black and white car is Nico, who's running an interesting livery today. No, it isn't. There we go. There's Nico. He's driving in P5 currently in the Sidus livery.
That is the reason why I was so confused, is because that is Javka Toponiak running around in the black and white car, moving his way up the order, though a lap off the lead. We can see him running in 15th. We see running behind Javka Toponiak, Rony Krompush, as Nico makes a really late move there, as Javka has to come up the racetrack and nearly collects Velinov, avoiding Nico Pantola. That would have been a heart-stopping moment for all three of those drivers, perhaps less so Nico, since he was the one making the move. So this is where the race gets really, really difficult for the likes of Javka Toponiak and Rony Krompush. So Rony obviously spun off and broke the suspension a few moments ago, had to come in and pit under green flag conditions. He was safely out of the way, didn't get the benefit of a safety car, as Gabor is going to go around the high side. It seems Takavicius there. Seamus nearly losing the rear of the car by the look of it. We'll keep an eye on this. Rony Krompush and Javka Toponiak one lap off. They will want to work together themselves. They've already made their pit stop commitment by virtue of having to come in to repair damage, as Velinov nearly hits the cone coming off the apron there. Rony and Javka Toponiak will want to run together if they can to try to get ahead of this pack, and then cross their fingers for a safety car to neutralize the field so that they can come around the back and then be back on the lead lap. Right now, doesn't appear to be in the cards, though. Javka Toponiak is making an amazing charge up to the lead of this race. He's going to trail the Born to Race car into the first turn, thinks about going down to the apron, does go down to the apron. Looked like Ayub would come all the way down, thought better of it. Javka Toponiak now right behind the leader of the race, looking to get his lap back. Rony Krompush a bit further back as cars have a little bit of contact. Looks like Nico Pantola in the middle with Velinov on the outside, Kai Piro inside. Close racing, 3 wide behind the leaders here.
Yeah, amazing that Zdravko's just managed to cut through that field. They bridged the gap. It was Velinov and Zdravko who bridged that gap. Velinov's not made as much progress now. And this is looking pretty good. There's a breakaway happening at the front. So Zdravko's managed to pick up a couple of followers as well. That's Ayub, who he's taken with him. So this is perfect. And the race is long enough that a strategy like this could work for Zdravko, especially if there's another safety car right now.
Yeah, it's not over for him at all. I think he is by far the most talented oval driver out there, as they get really, really close together coming off the turn. Javka Toponiak trying to take that really short line. So the fastest way around the racetrack will be to take kind of a shallow entry, shorten the racetrack as much as possible, lean the weight of the car into the tires rather than making a wide entry and suddenly loading up the tires. So he tried to make that shallower entry into the corner, had a car alongside. Oh, there we have it. Yes, Pete. There's a car upside down. Rony Krompush just came by the car in turn 2. I didn't see who it was. That is Gabor. That is Gabor upside down on the exit of turn 2. He must have had an accident as we were talking about Javka Toponiak getting in front of this pack. That is brilliant news for Javka Toponiak, who is behind the safety car. He will be waved around so the safety car can pick up the lead. He is back on the lead lap. The oval specialist taking an early hit, having to pit to repair damage and losing a lap. He is the benefactor of this safety car, but that is terrible for Gabor.
That is. We've lost our 2 big hitters. We've lost P1 in the championship, Yoni Kutila, and now we've lost P2, Gabor. Oh my goodness me. Let's take a quick look at those championship standings as we had them before the start of this round. You can see the 2 big hitters at the front are now out. It's Alexei Lemurto who's not here. That means that Pauli Peltokangas is set to get some big points here today if he can cut his way through the field. He's currently P11 as it stands. And yeah, we're going to have a couple of laps of running. In the background, you can see Zdravko Topolnyak. He is flat out, Travis, because he has played this strategy to perfection, absolute perfection.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, the strategy came to him whether he wanted it or not. But you are right. He's done it perfectly. He drove aggressively to the front. Now coming into pit lane, he's been waved around the safety car. Pit lane is open, so he can go full throttle at racing speed all the way around the track to come into the pit lane. It is open. I think you're right. I thought I saw a call, but I may have mistaken that for the. Yeah, coming out of pit lane now, we'll have to check to see. Pit entry, no, at the top, pit entry showed open. Well, it shows open now. I'm pretty sure it showed open when he came in. They do open the pits after the safety car picks up the pack, so I think he's going to be okay. Not sure why he stopped. He may have been a little bit short on
Free
fuel.
pit stop, Travis. Free pit stop.
Yeah, this is the dream for him.
Other cars pitting now.
Yeah, other cars pitting now. As you said, forced to take an alternate strategy because he fell to the back a lap off the lead. And now he's going to catch up the rear of the pack. He will gain a few positions on some of the cars ahead of him coming in. He will come around in, I believe, 11th to 12th position when this all shakes out on the lead lap, and only a quarter of the race done.
Yeah, exciting stuff. So not only has Zdravko managed to get in the pit lane during this safety car period, he's also got the lap back that he lost at the start and rejoins, as you rightly predicted, in P11. So he is now the highest placed driver with a pit stop under his belt. That is remarkable.
Two pit stops under his belt.
Two
for that
pit
matter.
stops, correct.
Yeah, he had to stop earlier to repair damage. We'll have to ask him afterward why he stopped again. My only guess is that he may have been short on fuel. And just stopped to be safe, or he could have taken fresh tires. So this is a big advantage for him. If he did take tires, we'll check that in just a second. If he took fresh tires, and he's sure he's good on fuel, he will be really, really strong.
So we're seeing that he may not have taken tyres.
He does have a lot of tread left on them, and they are not super hot. It's kind of hard to tell because the softer tires around the oval, the outside tires take so much of the cornering load, and the inside tires take so little. If you run soft tires will go the distance, but there's so much more friction that it's actually slower. Ronnie Kronpush is lagging really badly at the back. It looked like he spun off to the apron, but is back in line now. That would be bad to worse for Ronnie Kronpush. Off a bit early and was running around by himself far behind the pack. Now he will have a drafting partner again, but it's not looking good for Ronnie today. Stuart Baker accelerating out front of the pack so that Seamus Talkavicius can control the pace to come around for the restart. I was saying about the tires that the soft tires have so much more friction that it's actually slower to go around. So it could be that Strauka took tires and just did a really good job warming them up for the restart. Because they're hard tires, they wear relatively little, so it's hard to tell. But he is in the catbird seat, back on the lead lap in P11.
Talkavicius drops a gear. He's dropping gears.
He's ready to take the restart here. He has Ayub all over the rear of the car. These cars really, really tight. Kai Puro didn't get the jump. Ayub was all over Seamus Talkavicius. Kai Puro caught sleeping. The two in front, they've got a little bit of a gap here. Kai Puro going to have to worry about Nico Pantola coming around the outside. Nico decides, no, tuck back into the slipstream. Yeah, Kai Puro just caught sleeping, didn't get the jump. That'll be bad news for the cars that are trailing him if Ayub and Seamus can work together to break the draft from the cars behind. It is not as fast to go around 2x2 as it is to go in a pack of 3 or a pack of 4 with a couple cars trailing. But if they're smart, if they can run around the racetrack where the cars behind them can't slipstream, and they can work together, they might just be able to break this draft. This is not the most efficient pass coming around into turn 1. Sean Lee on the outside there. Yeah, Sean Lee. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Pete.
Back up to P3-ish after that big incident.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly. I mean, he's there, so he certainly deserves to be there. If that's what the standing screen tells us, then it is what it is. But I'm not sure how he avoided losing a lap because his car was as badly broken as Zdravka Deponyak's. Zdravka losing a lap in that first incident. But Sean Lee, obviously repairing the car, running strongly right there in P3 as he comes across the line, 3 wide into the first turn. Nico Pantola going to look down the inside, try to take 2 positions in 1 corner. These cars running side by side like this and trying to shake out a line, they're going to go a little bit slower than Ayub and Seamus out in front, though it doesn't look like Ayub and Seamus quite have it figured out. It looks like Kai Piro is catching them up. Kai Piro and Nico Pantola catching them up ever so slightly.
Yeah, let's ride on board with Sean Lee and see how these 4 can try and close this gap to the 2 running ahead. You'd say that the 2 running ahead have it easier than these guys. There's more choreography needed to be fast in a group of 4. What they really need is one of them to stay behind while the other 3 do the hard work. Just follow in that slipstream, let the 3 ahead do the work, as Sean seems to be doing now. Sean needs to just sit back and let these 3 pull him along.
Yep, you're exactly right, Pete. Sean Lee wants to just hang around behind these cars. He wants to move up and down the racetrack like we just saw to make sure that he is closest to the trailing car. The risk when you run around at the back like this is that if you make a tiny mistake or if the cars ahead of you get a little bit out of sorts, do something you didn't quite expect, if you don't carefully follow the cars ahead of you or if you lean out of the throttle at the wrong time so that you're not catching too closely, it's easy to lose the draft. So if you're running around at the back like this and you lose the draft, all you can do is the 2 of them, Sean Lee and Nico Pantola ahead of him coming up really close to the wall there. If he loses the draft, he's dead, and then he has to wait. He has to wait for the cars behind him to catch him, and then try to run with them. But looks like he's got it figured out right now. Running a pretty good 3-car train ahead of him. Sean Lee decides to go. I don't know that he needed to do that, but it looked like that's Dan Bala outside there, I think. Yeah, Dan Bala at the back. Looked like he got it a little bit wrong coming off turn 4. Nearly got it into the wall. Sean Lee had to make a snap decision there, but that was the smart move. Rather than leaning out of the throttle or dabbing the brake to slow the car, decides to just take the move. They got it sorted out in 2 or 3 turns as Dan Bala is going to go all the way down low, and he should come out right ahead of Sean Lee. He does. This is going to put them side by side coming into the 4th turn. Now running 3-4 wide. That's not the quickest way around. They will love to see this in the front. Sean Lee in the back of the pack one more time, using the momentum to catch the cars ahead of him and stay in the slipstream. Sean Lee looking like he's doing a pretty good job of this. I think he's got it figured out pretty well, Pete.
Yeah, it was good watching him doing just sitting back and letting the others do the legwork, but I think he was bored of that and wants to get in the mix. So now it really needs to be Dan Bala who just sits back and lets these 3 do the work, because they are bridging that gap. As soon as they get 4 of them involved, they start losing that gap again, but it was working briefly.
Yep, it's kind of bounced around a little bit, so we can see them edging a little bit closer, and then, we see a drive-through penalty for Pali Peltogangas. The pole sitter had worked his way back up to 6th, 7th position, running in that 3rd pack of 2 behind the cars that we were watching. He apparently was responsible for the incident that took out Yoni, so that will put Pali Peltogangas at the very back. He might lose a lap. It is a fairly long pit lane. And with cars, running around in the draft, carrying all of the extra speed, and him being in the middle of the pack as it is, this is going to put him awfully close to losing a lap if he doesn't, in fact, lose a lap. And then this is what you dread in an event like this. If he comes out in clean air, that will be the end of his race, unless he manages to find a partner that comes out of the pits, or he gets the benefit of a safety car.
Yeah, he has a limited number of laps to serve that drive-through, which hampers him even more. But let's focus on this battle at the front, because this drafting pair at the beginning is about to become 6 cars, as Daniel Bala leads now this group up to the back. And I think that is going to be...
somebody...
Yep,
that's Kai Piro peeled off.
Kai Piro is going to pit
down.
Yep,
he gets it slowed down well ahead of the line, not the fastest entry. So that is another trick. We'll talk about him while we watch the front pack here. Another trick about running these oval races is that you can lose or gain immense amount of time making really fast pin entries. So you want to come in full throttle, just dancing on the very edge of grip, coming on the apron. There's not as much grip down there because the track is a little bit tighter. These cars are set up to run in the slipstream, so the balance is a little bit different down on the flat part excuse me, Pete, the flat part of the racetrack. That's a mouthful.
That is.
We see these cars coming three
Yeah,
wide.
I want to just say quickly, Travis, look at Sean. He's lost out here. He's dropped off the back massively of these four, and he's now on his own.
Yeah, I think he got caught out by the pack getting shaken up. Oh, no, he did. He pitted. He's in pit lane.
Yeah, he must have realized that he was dropping back, and he's decided, okay, now's the time. I need to come into pit lane. No, Sean's. I think Sean's just got a drive-through. He got a penalty for overtaking under the safety car.
Oh no! Yeah, we missed that. We didn't hear the call from race control when that happened. So
Kai Pura also drive-through.
Interesting. So drive-through penalties for Sean Lee and Kai Puro
and Jared Mead.
And they are, so it looks like, as I see Sean Lee, Kai Puro both still on the lead lap. Jared Mead, as you said, also getting a drive-through penalty. That pack at the front that was 2 and then 6, now 4 with Nico Pintola out of the lead. Dan Bala, who expressed some reservations about oval racing before it started, now taking the lead from Nico Pintola with Seamus Taukavicius running their 3rd in the pack, and Ayub still sticking with his former drafting buddy right there in 4th position.
Dan Bala was just psyching out his opponents with that comment, Travis. He loves oval racing. Clearly, he's leading ahead of Seamus Taukavicius and Ayub, super close to the wall, but he's got a bit of a gap. He's going to get caught again if these 3 behind can keep it going, but we see another different leader in this race.
We do, and speaking of leaders and getting caught, Pete, if you look to the next pack of 4 cars, the cars running 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, in that pack we see Zdravko Toponiak right behind Rony Kronpush. Rony Kronpush still a lap off the lead, but Zdravko Toponiak now in front of this 2nd pack and catching these cars ahead, running 3 wide into the 4th turn. Zdravko Toponiak off by 1 lap early on after an incident, had to stop a couple times to make repairs and a 2nd pit stop, we assume, for fuel and tires. Now right there with the lead pack, he's going to carry the momentum around Patrick Hall, and he will be right there with the leaders. Zdravko Toponiak on a charge from dead last.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Obviously not his plan to be this far down, but he's made the most of the situation, and he's right back in the mix for some excellent points. He currently holds the fastest lap as well, so he has pace.
Yeah, this lead pack, he does have pace. This lead pack is now 8 cars. This is where it gets really, really hairy. We know that Rony Kronpush has been lagging a little bit as Zdravko Toponiak looks way down on the apron, nearly collects Ayub Alanuni coming up the racetrack. You can get a little bit of understeer because the banking isn't very steep. It doesn't press the car in to give the friction that you would get on the really banked circuit like Kyoto. These cars running 3-4 wide really tight. A car goes off down the inside. I don't know if that was a lag hit or if somebody actually spun off. Nope, I think everybody is through safely. Really tight racing here. 2, 3 cars. 2, 3 packs of cars running 3 wide as Zdravko Toponiak gets touched in the rear by Seamus Taukavicius. Both of them manage to collect it. Zdravko Toponiak stays out of the wall, cuts down the racetrack in front of Seamus Taukavicius. Thank you very much. I'll have this position back. Looking behind Nico Pintola. That was nearly a catastrophe again for Zdravko Toponiak, but the 2 of them, full opposite lock coming up the banking, managed to keep it under control. These 2 continue.
This is exciting stuff, Travis. We're approaching the halfway mark, in fact, and it's all kicking off. We've got Patrick Hall and Daniel Ballard currently 1 and 2, as Daniel Ballard swings to the inside to take over the lead again. I want to point out that Ayub has been super consistent. He's been the driver that's been at the front the most during this race so far, and as we head on to lap 50, he's my dark horse for today for sure.
Yeah, mine as well. He has been very consistent. Safety car.
Oh,
we'll have to look around and see. There's a car stopped somewhere. I see course cars around the circuit. We'll have to see why there was a safety car.
It's Kai Puro. Somehow on his roof just before start finish.
Yeah, that must have happened behind all of the action we were watching at the front, and I think we missed
just
it
after
because
start finish.
Yeah, just after start finish. I think we missed it because his little pip on the map happened to come off as everybody else went through, and then it was right under where the safety car is parked. So we completely missed that. Our apologies. Not looking good for Kai Puro. He was running strong early on. I don't know that he will be able to recover because he's on his lid. When this happened to Yoni and Gabor earlier, they elected to ask for permission to spectate and then did so. So this may be the end for Caipiro. He's going to lose a lap at the very least, maybe a second one, if they don't try to recover him with the course car here.
Yeah, if you're on your roof, that's it. You're out. You do not get a chance to recover the car. It is one of the rules of the series, and that is that. So we've seen big hitters out all over the place. Yoni Katila, Gabor, and now Caipiro ending their races by being on their roof. We are down to just 14 runners, and it is Patrick Hall for Race Green who leads his teammate Daniel Ballot around this racetrack.
Race Green cars, first, second, and third in line there, Pete. Ronan Kronpush managed to get to the front of that line, right behind the safety car. He will come around and be back
He's gone
on
in the pit.
lead lap.
Who's that going in the pit lane? Is
That's
that
Dan Ballot
Dan
coming
Ballot?
down the pit lane. Yeah, so Dan Ballot coming down to pit lane. I don't know that he had stopped yet, so I guess electing to take this under safety car. That's pretty smart.
Is it open? Is the pit lane open?
The pit lane is not open. Pit entry is closed, and there was a warning from race control not to use the apron. So he came down to the apron instead of using the normal pit entry.
In pit lane.
And then came to a closed pit. So this may be a drive-through penalty for him unless he needed to do emergency service. He shouldn't have. We'll have to find out more there.
Well, he's coming to the pit lane when it's closed, so that is a penalty for Dan Ballot. Unfortunately, he was running right up the front, so unless he's just been unlucky, caught out, and has run out of fuel at the last second, and it's been forced into the pit lane while it was closed. Who knows? But there we go. It is the rule. He rejoins at the back.
Yep. However, Ronan Kronpush, as we said just a moment ago, right behind Stuart Baker, he will be waved around so that Stuart Baker could pick up the leader of the race, Patrick Hall, who has been running near the front, in the front half of the order for most of the race, has managed to avoid all of the trouble happening around him. Ronan Kronpush now being instructed to overtake the safety car, goes around at the exit of turn 3. Caipiro now being asked to spectate. That will be the end of the day for him. He will finish in 15th position. Ronan Kronpush hustling around the racetrack to catch up the back of the pack. Now, all of the drivers in the running back on the lead lap. Pete, we have a 14-way race, halfway done.
Yeah, this is a complete reset, just with fewer cars, and it is a shake-up. Roni will be able to get most of the way back round before the green flag goes, because we have another lap at this speed. Stuart Baker comes across start-finish now. Patrick Hall takes over the lead, AUP2. Zdravko, after recovering from a lap down, is P3. What an exciting afternoon this has been. We thank you for joining us. You're watching LFSCART Light by New Dimension Racing, the round 3 of the 2021 season on Sim Broadcasts on Twitch and YouTube. We are very grateful for your company. We hope you're enjoying the action here. Awesome stuff at Rockingham Oval.
Looking at the order, Zdravko Toponiak obviously there in third, having been a lap down in last, right behind Ayub, who, as you said a few moments ago, has been very consistent at the front. In spite of all of the action happening around him. I'm sure he's had his heart in his throat a few times. Zdravko Toponiak will have wanted somewhat less excitement following his charge up to the front. Had a couple packs of 3 or 4 that became a pack of 7 or 8, and then looked like he was on a charge at the front. Nearly collected Seamus Talkavicius, but the two of them managed to continue without being worse for wear. But in the lead as we come around to start the final safety car lap before they restart the race. Patrick Hall in the lead, Ayub Alanouni in second place, Zdravko Toponiak in third, Nico Pantola in fourth, Seamus Talkavicius running in fifth. Sean Lee, despite his trials, has managed to get back up to 7th position. Falling down the order now, I think he's been asked to go to the back. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, he's in pit lane, I think. Trying to decide. Yeah, they're going around Sean Lee, who has stopped. Or is stopping. He's coming into pit lane now. We've got Karula in 6th position, Villanov in 7th, Timo Soini in 8th, Mastia in 8th. More cars coming into pit lane. It's shuffling the order on me. Pauli Peltogang is going to come up to 9th, though he is now in pit lane. I think a number of drivers electing to take stops. Well, I'll stop trying to read the order here, Pete, because there's a big shuffle happening as a few drivers try to take pit stops as they come around to the safety car. This might benefit Sean Lee. He should be coming out of pit lane. If he times this right, he should be able to get a good jump on the field, but that might draw a fair amount of scrutiny from the officials if he did try to do that. No, he is caught up to the back of the pack. He will not try to make a flying jump, but eyes on Patrick Hall at the front now. He has not led in this race, bar following the safety car. now going to lead the entire pack around to the restart. He controls the pace with Ayub directly behind him. Zdravko Toponiak, a man none of these guys wanted to see. As the green flag drops, Patrick Hall gets a good jump. Ayub attentive to it. He's getting really good at these restarts, right on Patrick Hall in the lead. Zdravko didn't get the best restart that he would have wanted, as Nico Patola all over the rear, looking to the inside. Small gap to fifth position, Seamus Taukavicius in the back. Zdravko Toponiak would like to work with Nico Patola and break the draft to Seamus Taukavicius so that he can charge to the front and run with Patrick Hall and Ayub El-Anouni.
Thank you, Travis. Amazing as always. It's Ayub who takes over the lead of the race at the front, and he's going to try and drag Patrick Hall with him. They need to open this gap to Zdravko. They know how quick he is, but at some point, these guys are going to have to go down the pit lane. Everyone behind, pretty much, has made a stop, so this is going to be exciting for them, or not. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they'll be hoping for another safety car. They probably should have stopped. They made it around the halfway mark as Nico Pantola, Zdravko Toponiak goes inside. Nico Patola tucks in behind him. Nico Patola also very good at oval racing. These two should be able to work together and catch the two in the front and maybe get away from them. Hearing from race control a correction that a pit stop is not actually required in this event. That is unique to this. Otherwise, a pit stop is required in New Dimension racing events. Apologies for that. Pete and I got that one all wrong. These drivers just electing to take a lot of. I'm hearing again that I don't know anything about the rules, Pete. We should have a chat. We should have a chat about this after the race, so you can correct my knowledge about the event. Yeah, so no pit stops required. Entirely down to strategy. But Nico Pantola and Zdravko Toponiak, two very good oval drivers in the mirrors of Patrick Hall and Ayub El-Anouni, who are doing a really handy job at the front. Ayub very consistent. Patrick Hall doing just as well. Tucks in behind Ayub as he comes down to the apron. Two packs of two cars in the lead, and then another second back to Seamus Taukavicius and Karula running 5th and 6th.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Obviously, we have Zdravko here knocking on the door of the podium. He is battling with the only remaining Sidus car in the top 10. Pelter Kangas way down the order now, fighting for his own battle with Daniel Balla and Jared Mead currently.
So I was confused there for a moment because we're not set up in a way that in our voice communication, race control would be able to hear me. And it's occurred to me now that the race control are watching the broadcast and listening to all of the wrong things I've been saying. So I will be more mindful of this in the future, since I know that I knew, but I've since remembered that everyone is listening and probably scrutinizing. Now I feel compelled to see if I'm getting lit up on Twitch, Pete.
No, it's absolutely fine so far, but never say never. We're watching Ronnie Krompus. He's come from the back of the field to P8, so lots of recovery drives happening here throughout the field. Good stuff for him. Again, he gets a second bite of the cherry.
Yeah, and running pretty well, too. A 3-car pack here. I think he would have been pretty frustrated early in the race as we see a car duck down for pit lane. Couldn't see who that was. It looked like a race green car.
Dan Balla again.
Yep, Dan Balla coming into pit lane.
Let's see what he decides to do. It possibly is a drive-through penalty for pitting while the safety car was out and the pit lane was closed. He's going to drive all the way through. That's a bad one for his afternoon. That's going to hurt. He's going to have no one to draft with.
Yep, it is. We expected that. We noted that when he came into pit lane earlier that the pit lane was closed. They didn't make a special mention of using the apron after they had asked drivers not to use it. But I think the pitting under a closed pit probably trumped that one, as this pack in front is about to become a 4-car pack. Nico Patola and Zdravko Toponiak inching up ever so slightly on these cars in the lead. You could see there, this is a great shot. Thank you, Pete. You could see there that Nico Patola, how quickly he fell back behind Zdravko Toponiak. He leaned out of the throttle ever so slightly coming into the third turn so that Zdravko could make the pass before he came up the racetrack, and Nico Patola could then get back in the throttle, tuck in behind him as they drove up the road, keep the momentum high when you have to work against gravity coming up the racetrack. These two guys, specialists, really, really talented in oval driving, and they are catching the leaders. They come through turns 2 and turn 3 here. Zdravko and Nico will have the leader's slipstream. These two just ever so slightly quicker than the two leaders, Patrick Hall and Ayub El-Anouni.
Here they come, Travis. That is Nico Pantola in the slipstream now
Oh,
of
sorry,
Abe.
Pete. Safety car deployed.
Oh,
Safety car. There is a car in the wall between turn 2 and turn 3. Looked like it may have been Dan Bala looking around to see who that was now. No, it would have been Mastia. Car is bent a little bit. He's way off the pace. You can see the front wing is broken. So he was able to recover pretty quickly when that happened. Didn't end up upside down or stopped on the racetrack, but was slow enough in the racing line to warrant throwing a safety car. This will have rescued Patrick Hall and Ayub if they choose to stop here. Oh, no, I remember now. That is not a thing, Pete. Please forget I said that. Everybody ignore that.
it's okay. Some drivers are opting to, go in for refuel, go in for tires, and also to repair minor damage during these safety car periods. Remember, you can lose a lot of time if anything's bent. So, you might not have to pit, but it's sometimes better to do it, as we see another couple of cars in the background doing exactly that, Travis.
Yep, that's Rockingham Push and Timo Soini coming down to pit lane. They were running near the back, so there's
Is
nothing
the pit lane open?
It is open, so track is yellow, pit entry is open. That'll promote the other race, Dan Bala, up to 12th after he was off earlier for a drive-through penalty for doing just this, coming into pit lane under caution, though it was closed. So yeah, nothing to lose for these two. They can get fresh tires. They've got some time to double check, make sure they've got enough fuel, and then they will be back in the fight.
Excellent stuff. It is Ayub and Patrick Hall at the front, and this time it's Nico Pantola and Zdravko Topolniak who need to react to those those restart orders and keep an eye on Patrick Hall for when he pins the throttle to take over the lead of this race when we go green in a couple of laps' time. Quite a few cautions this afternoon with a reduced number in this field. But, actually the quality of racing and the quality of side-by-side action around a very technical and difficult oval, very good for these guys.
It is. Good for them, something a little bit different. We don't often run around here, and great for us to watch. Speaking of Nico Pantola and Zdravko Topolniak running there in 3rd and 4th, Zdravko's restarts haven't been that good. Ayub has, I don't know that Ayub has led at a restart. Patrick Hall did on the previous restart, but Ayub has been running 2nd or 3rd on most of the restarts after the start of the race, and he's doing a really good job getting a jump and staying right behind the leader. Zdravko caught sleeping on the last one, and then falling back into the clutches of the pack earlier on in earlier restarts. As you said, he will want to get a better restart this time around. He's there with a great drafting partner. He and Nico know their way around tracks with only left turns. So they will be looking to get a good jump and work together to get away from Patrick and Ayub, because I think they know that they can run in the lead and run strongly ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, we are almost ready to go green again as the safety car disappears up the road. Stuart Baker hitting the loud pedal, and we will resume our action here. Patrick Hall will set the pace. Travis, take it away.
Yep, Stuart Baker not drifting around the final turns, but going hot into pit lane as we pick up Patrick Hall at the front. He has a train of cars line astern, all close together behind him. Is that this Seamus Stalkovich is taking a peek to the inside. You can't pass before the green flag drops. And I would say it's a little bit rude to take a peek like that as Patrick Hall gets a huge jump. Ayub going really low on the racetrack to try to shorten it as much as possible. Didn't get as good a restart as we're accustomed to seeing from him. But the car's really strung out on this restart. Ayub catching up Patrick Hall a little bit. Patrick Hall taking the high line around the first turn. Ayub all the way down to the grass below the double white line. Seamus Stalkovich there behind Nico Pantola. Now has Zdravko Topolniak on the inside. Zdravko Topolniak caught sleeping once again along with everybody else in this restart. Now finds 4th position right behind his former drafting buddy Nico Pantola again. But Ayub and Patrick Hall, they've done it again, Pete. They managed to get a good jump on the restart, and they've got a small gap to the cars chasing them.
Yeah, I wouldn't give the blame there to Zdravko. I think the cars ahead of him were just not able to react. They were going side by side into the final corner, and around about the same time that Patrick Hall pinned the throttle, so not ideal. So they've now got a three-way fight.
Yeah, Seamus
Vicious.
Vicious. Yeah, I didn't see any contact there. There could have been a minor lag hit that didn't show as clearly on stream, but Seamus Vicious went sailing up the racetrack with Zdravko Deponiak going down low. The two of them got together earlier and managed to avoid a huge accident, both of them in beautiful control of their cars in challenging circumstances. Once again, coming close to an accident, but managing to avoid it, and now running the three of them together with Nico Pintola.
Yeah, we have the same scenario that we had before. Patrick Hall and Ayub doing fantastic jobs at the restart, and they just need to hope that they can keep it ahead now. And they want to race green now. They don't want any more safety cars because your luck runs out eventually when you're in these situations. You're at the mercy of everybody else at this point. So this drafting train of three really need to sort themselves out if they want to close that 1 second gap now that Ayub and Patrick have at the front. Super experienced, these three, and yeah, doing a great job, but they need to work together to close that gap.
They do, and it's a little bit ragged right now. I think they're probably a little bit shaken up from an awkward restart, but they'll get to sort it out. That pack of three, though, could become a pack of five, I think that's Velinov in the red and white car in the back, and Karula running alongside him. Yep, that is Karula in 7th position, running with Velinov, them trying to catch the cars ahead of them. They are not far behind. I think this will become a pack of five pretty soon, but the leaders, Patrick Hall and Ayub Elanuni, I don't know that I don't think we would have predicted before the race started that these two would run together and run so strongly in the lead, but they're doing a perfect job up front. They've got the rhythm, they're trading positions, they're keeping the pace pretty high. They should be pretty pleased to see all of the dicing in their mirrors. They have it under control, but as you said, they do not want to see another safety car. They want the race green car in position 2, wants to race green for the remaining distance.
Yeah, Bozidar Velinov, he is running really, really nicely at the moment with Simas Talkavicius, and those two could make this second place, this second pack, a pack of five, and that would be a disaster for those guys. It would slow them all down, and that would let Patrick and Ayub pull ahead in front. In fact, the gap now 1.35 seconds from this pack to the front two. So that front two working super effective here, Travis. And it's great. It's really nice to see those two working together really well, while you have to say, more experienced oval racers behind are struggling.
Yeah, and I don't know it's so much the oval racers struggling. Nico and Zdravko know their way around, but I think they've just been caught up a few times with drivers who are just a little bit less experienced on the ovals. So they're trying to work together, but also navigate drivers who don't quite have the rhythm. And it does get nearly in the wall there. Seems Talkavicius. Zdravko Deponiak's going to try to follow him through. Pushed him up the racetrack ever so slightly. This is just slowing them down. I think Seamus started near the front, but I don't know how experienced. I'm not questioning his experience. I actually don't know how experienced he is on the ovals, but it certainly appears as though he is not as experienced as the drivers around him, and that is causing Nico and Zdravko a little bit of frustration. Running three wide through the third turn now, we see a clear view of the three of them just slowing themselves down from the onboard with Velinov. He's going to come through Karula one more time. Velinov and Karula have it pretty well figured out, but they keep getting held up by this three-car pack ahead of them. I think Nico and Zdravko and Seamus could all go to the front, but they've just got to figure it out, and I think they're struggling with Seamus Talkavicius more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, Seamas got a great qualifying position. He's stuck it at the front of this group. Sean Lee's been up and down like a yo-yo. Simas, I imagine, would love to have Sean here to draft with, because those two, being in the same team, they can probably communicate better than Talkavicius can with the likes of Nico Pintola and Topolniak right now. Bozidar's really trying to catch up to this group with Kahula. Kahula, if you remember from last time out, super unlucky in that race. Almost, lining himself up for the win in race 2 last round. Didn't quite come together, but today running really strongly in 6th or 7th at the moment with Bozidar. These two, they could catch up and potentially be in the hunt for a podium. We're on lap 74.
Yeah, I think you're right, and you can see that the Velinov nearly has the slipstream now. We saw Karhula in the onboard just lean out of the throttle. They've got the timing pretty well figured out, where Karhula was Velinov was a little bit late to try to make the pass into turn 3 on the last time around. So Karula leaned out of the throttle ever so slightly to let Velinov carry the momentum through the bottom of the track and then back up the racetrack so that Karula could tuck in right behind him. Velinov has done the same thing there, left it a little bit late, leaned out of the throttle ever so slightly so that they could time this perfectly. And you can see it in this onboard view that they're working together really well and have caught this pack of three: Zdravko Stepaniak, Seamus Takavicius, and Nico Pantola.
This is going to be music to the ears of Patrick Hall and Ayub as that gap stretches to 2 seconds. This group of three just haven't been as effective as the pairs in front and behind. And it is now Kahula and Bozidar Velinov who have closed that gap. And we have another pack of 5. There are going to be fireworks in the last quarter of this race, Travis.
Yeah, I think there will be. You're right. Seamus Takavicius looks like it is kind of a struggle when you've not done this very often, and everything happens so quickly, and there's so many things around you that it is really difficult to prioritize all the information and kind of strategize when you have all of these things happening around you. Oh, Velinov nearly loses the rear of the race car by himself on the apron, gets into Karhula. Karhula manages to avoid keeping it out of the wall, even though he got touched on the left rear. Oh, man, Seamus Takavicius taking a late move down on Zdravko Stepaniak. Zdravko Stepaniak just saw him in his mirrors and stayed up the racetrack. He had Nico Pantola out there, probably couldn't see him, but really good awareness of his surroundings, manages to avoid contact. Seamus Takavicius is playing with fire. I think he's doing his best. I don't want to sell him short, but he is he doesn't appear to have the experience of everyone else around him, and we're awfully close to an accident. This is really nip and tuck stuff, and it's getting pretty ragged out there.
Yeah, it didn't help that the other two, Bozidar and Kahula, just joined in, creating more cars, so it just gets more complicated. So Kahula sends one up the inside, makes the move on 2 cars, and gets straight into the slipstream of Zdravko. This is firmly now a 4-car pack, as Talkovicius goes to the low line quite early. That will spook Kahula and drop Talkovicius back. Zdravko's got a bit of a break, but he has no one ahead. There's a 2.5 second gap now, and I don't know if Topolniak can run in clean air and make progress.
No, so he'll be really frustrated by this, but he's got a chance. He's smart, and he knows how oval cars work, so he has a chance here with this gap to try to move the car around to catch Nico Pantola. So what he wants to do is position the car. He wants to, he may run out of time here because these guys have caught up to him again, but what he wanted to do there was put his car in the right position and hope that Nico Pantola could make a pass coming off the 4th turn so that he could give Nico the draft, find a guy that he knows he can run with really well, and then break the draft with Nico Pantola to try to get away. But he just didn't have quite enough time. You lose so much speed running alone, and now these 4 are together once again. However, Nico Pantola does catch up to him. Zdravko Stepaniak probably wants to defend this a little bit so he can try to run with Nico and break the draft. He's got a little bit of a gap to Seamus Takavicius behind, but I think Seamus is going to be able to follow him through under Nico Pantola, and this 3-way, 4-way fight is going to continue for another lap. You can see in the background Karhula down on the apron in the slipstream, in the turbulent air. The car doesn't work nearly as well on the flat of the apron. A couple guys, Seamus Takavicius in particular, a couple guys have nearly lost it down there. We saw Velinov nearly lose it coming off turn 4 from the transition from the apron. So this is tough. It's difficult, and the experienced guys are having to be really careful and really mindful of the drivers who aren't quite so experienced with oval racing. So we see Nico Pantola come by. Zdravko Stepaniak one more time. Zdravko wants to tuck in here and cut off the slipstream. That will hurt Seamus Takavicius' momentum. They might have a chance here to break away because Seamus lost the momentum coming through turn 2. And he's going to tuck in behind Nico Pantola. They've got a shot here if they work together, especially if Karhula comes down the inside of Seamus Takavicius. They might just be able to make something work here.
We're hearing in our ears that Magic has got a drive-through. We have 2 cars on the apron. That was sketchy. Again, it's Talkovicius, and that was Nico Pantola, if I'm not mistaken, getting pushed down. We could see a 7, perhaps more, second pack here. And this is brilliant for Patrick and El Hanouni. Nearly 4 seconds they've clawed away. This is a nightmare for these guys in this pack.
It really is, and I know I can. Well, I hope we can talk to him after this. Oh, there's a car off. There's a car off. Ayub Al-Hanouni got it all wrong with Patrick Hall. Patrick Hall is now alone in the lead. I think the 2 of them came together. Patrick Hall is going to have to lean out of the throttle to let Ayub catch up. Ayub's so far off the pace that this pack behind him is going to catch up. Oh, they had the dream. They had a perfect run out in front, the two of them together, extending that lead. And then just a little bit of a miscue somewhere. Ayub El-Anouni either touched the wall or went too far down on the apron, or they touched wheels, just a slight miscalculation on the pass. And now Patrick Hall is going to be using all of this fuel out front. His strategy could very well be out the window, and his drafting partner is now 4 seconds behind him. He has to run by himself and hope for the best now, but he is not going to have enough time to hold this lead running solo out front. Disaster for the two of them. They were perfect for the better part of 40 laps, and it's all gone wrong.
Yeah, that's a disaster, but it is brilliant for Zdravko and Nico, who have somehow, while that stuff was happening up front, they've somehow managed to get a breakaway, and they've picked up Ayub, and that's not a bad thing, because Ayub's been working really well with Patrick. Patrick is now a sitting duck 3 seconds up the road, but can he run quicker on his own than these three can, as we see Ayub struggling almost to keep up with these two? But they've got a gap now over Talkavicius, who is being absolutely swarmed by Roni Krompush, Velenov, and Pauli Pelter-Kangas is back in this race.
Yeah, we have a lot to watch now. As you said, these three have broken away the two, Nico Patola and Zdravko Toponiak, have broken away by picking up Ayub, who has a lot more experience running in the pack. He'll be able to work together with them. They should be able to catch Patrick Hall pretty easily. We have a lot to watch now. Patrick Hall in front will be praying that they keep dicing and slowing themselves down behind. But you can see they are visibly closer behind Patrick Hall now. That gap coming down below 3 seconds. I don't think Patrick Hall has enough time to run this race in the lead with a 3-car train behind him. But behind that 3-car train, this could be a safety car lying in wait. 7 cars, 8 cars running together. Somebody touched the grass coming down into turn 4. You don't want to do that. A little bit more dust coming off the corner. Velenov 3 wide with one of the Pixel Air Attack newsroom cars. Yeah, this is dicey stuff, Pete. And it looks like this 7-car pack looks like it's becoming a 5-car pack. There's a little bit of a gap to those 2 cars at the rear. They might be catching the 3 cars ahead of them. It's pretty close.
Yeah, that was Sean Lee, actually, and Daniel Baller, I believe, who have dropped off the back now. Actually, no, it was Kahula, was it? Yes, it was. There's a lot happening here. Yes, it was Kahula who has dropped back. So we have Roni Krompush, Talkavicius, Daniel Baller, Ozidar Velenov, and Pauli Pelter-Kangas now, who's kind of somewhat in a void almost.
Yeah, lots to see here. Cameras on this 7-car pack running 3 wide out of the second turn.
4 wide.
3-car 4 wide now. Good Lord. This is tight stuff. There's enough room, but it's really hard to run down that low and also that close to the wall, but they make it through cleanly. Ahead of them, this 3-car pack, Zdravko Toponiak, Nico Patola, Ayub El-Anouni, they are catching Patrick Hall. Patrick Hall is a sitting duck. That gap is now below 2 seconds. It will be 1.5 across the line. This is going to be a 4-car train with about 20 laps left in the race.
15 laps to go, Travis, as they head on to lap 88 of this race. Oh my goodness me. Patrick Hall's gap has come down to 1.6 seconds. He's going to be furious with Ayub. And sorry we couldn't pick up that incident on the stream with the leaders. We were too focused on that battle for the last step on the podium. But here we go now. 6 cars fighting it out. And so far, so good for these guys. They just need to keep it together and catch that group of 3 ahead, which doesn't look like it's happening anymore. The gap is going up.
Yeah, as you said, Patrick Hall will be sick. They had it all figured out. It was a 2-car race. They could have gone to the last few laps and then kind of strategized and driven aggressively as those 3 cars come together, wheel to wheel, coming into the first turn. Still really dicey stuff. Car down low in the tires. That was I couldn't tell if that was Seamus Talkavicius or Sean Lee all the way down low. The driver with the red number, I believe. I can't tell. But 3 wide all the way around. They will love this in the pack ahead of them. Zdravko Toponiak, Nico Patola, Ayub El-Anouni. Catching up Patrick Hall now, down below 1 second. The 3 of them working together really well. At the end of this lap, this will be a 4-way race at the front with just more than 10 laps remaining, but entirely possible that we could see a safety car. Really nip and tuck, tight racing in this 6-car pack that we've got on the camera right now.
Yeah, if you like oval racing, then this is awesome. I don't know what else we can say about that. This is as dicey and as sketchy as it gets. But these guys out here have got to be having an absolute blast with this. Someone who isn't having a blast is this man, Patrick Hall. And let's get a look as the other cars behind are beginning to close up. that is El Hanouni, Topolnyak, and Nika Pantola, who are looking to spoil Race Green Autosports Day. Patrick has done a super job so far, and let's see if he can stay with these guys and at the end bring it home in first place. He deserves a good result here.
He really does. Nico Patola makes the pass down on the apron into turn one. Now well into Patrick Hall's slipstream. Zdravka going to trade positions. This is where they need to be smart now. Ayub has it figured out. He can afford to hang back here. He decides to dab the brake just a little bit, keep the power on, but drag the car behind Nico Pantola, stay in the slipstream, save fuel. He'll let the 3 cars ahead of him trade positions while he drives around at the back, and he thinks about his strategy for the final 10 laps of this race.
Yeah, they come across start finish lap 92, and yeah, it is Patrick Hall who retains that lead. These 3 need to work really carefully with him to bring this to the end. Now they don't want to make any slip ups. They've got a fairly decent gap to Pauli Peltokangas and the group behind, 3 seconds, but as we saw with El Hanouni, it can all go wrong so quickly, and Patrick's been caught in only a few laps. So this pack of 4, one of these guys is going to be disappointed at the end of the race, Travis.
Yep, I think 3 of these guys will be disappointed at the end of the race, Patrick Hall in particular, but the man who will be pleased no matter what, we know he wants to win as much as anybody else does, but Zdravka Topolnyak, off by 1 lap early in the running after an accident, managed to come in and repair, regained his lap under a safety car later in the race, and now in the catbird seat right behind Patrick Hall. He'll swing down onto the low line to go by Patrick Hall. In the lead of this race. Anything can happen in the last 10 laps. This lead is by no means cemented, but he is right where he wants to be. The oval master, by far the most experienced oval driver in the field right now, back to front, running with the lead pack.
Epic stuff at the front, and that gap behind is holding at 3 seconds. Obviously, this group of 4 now is a bit uncomfortable again, because who goes where? You know, as we mentioned in commentary, we think, being here in our vantage point, that the fastest way around this track is with 2. After that, it's with 3. These guys, they can't draft in pairs because they just get in each other's way. So they need to draft in a 3, and one person needs to sit at the back. And at the moment, the person at the back is Ayub El Hanouni. Let's see where Nika Pantola will slot back in. Yep, he slots back into the 3rd place position. So these guys doing as good a job as they can at this stage to hold that gap to Pauli and the cars behind.
Yeah, this is really good stuff at the front. This is what they would have wanted to do the entire race.
Oh, contact! Bozidar Velenov off into the start-finish line, and that's going to be a safety car at this late stage. Absolute drama behind, and more contact! Pauli Peltokangas hitting Timas Talkavicius, heading down onto the exit of pit road. We cut back just at the right time. There you see the yellow lights flashing, and we have a late safety car. That's going to bunch everybody back up for less than 10 laps to the end, Travis.
Yeah, the guys in the lead did not want to see that. Patrick Hall, I think, will be... the race got away from him when he and Ayub got together some laps ago. We don't know exactly how, but something happened, and it cost them their clear lead in front of everybody else. Patrick now going to be even more sick that he has to do another one of these restarts from the lead, and now he has the master behind him. Zdravka Topolnyak will restart P2, and we will come around to a safety car restart with about 4 or 5 laps remaining, I believe, Pete.
8 laps to go. Sorry, I just jumped into race control to get confirmation of how many laps we've got left. It's a little bit different here because we had a few warm-up laps, and we have some not issues, but some quirks with the way LFS's lap counts work over 100 laps. So we will bring that countdown as we get it. But yes, we have an 8-lap sprint, 7 laps at the end of this one to go. And there we are. Safety car Stuart Baker is at the head of this field then. And what a way to end this race. It's Patrick Hall who's still at the front. Zdravko Topolnyak in P2. Nika Pantola in P3. Ayub El Hanouni in P4 after that error that cost him and Patrick pretty much. You know, one of them was guaranteed the win of the race, barring any more safety cars. We've had a safety car. It was caused by an incident between Bozidar Velenov and I'm not sure who else was involved in it. We'll have to clear it up at the end, but certainly Bozidar was involved. He's down to P12 at the moment, and yeah, not the way he wanted his evening to go.
No, it's really not. Though, if we look down the order, Patrick Hall, he will certainly be frustrated. As you said a moment ago, this was all going his way with Ayub. And then we guessed that a safety car might happen with the way the racing was going in that pack, and it did. But Zdravko Topolnyak up into second position after falling all the way to the back off the lead lap. Ayub in third. I wanted to talk about Ayub right before we went to that safety car. He is running a brilliant race. We don't know him to be, we don't not know, but we don't know him to be a very experienced oval driver. But he learned, if he's not, he learned the ropes really quickly. He was running beautifully with Patrick Hall until something happened up front about 25 laps ago. But then when this 4-car pack formed, they picked up Ayub and then caught Patrick Hall in the lead. And Ayub running around in fourth place, just saving fuel, biding his time, waiting for the drivers ahead of him to make a mistake so that he could pounce. Even if he doesn't win, he's one of the drivers of the day for me because he's run such a smart race.
Yeah, well, it's all going to be decided in the next 5 or so minutes because that's all that is remaining in this race. Oh, we're almost at 100 laps registered, and this is the business end of the race, and everybody is together. More importantly, everyone is on the lead lap. Anyone can win this, Travis.
Indeed, anyone can win this. They will come around to start what looks like lap 99 on the counter, and then after 100, they will reset the count. Again, that quirk of live for speed that Pete mentioned. So when we come across the line, we should have 4 or 5 laps remaining. I believe that's correct. As we see in this wide shot, Patrick Hall letting Stuart Baker drive away from them now. Stuart Baker not doing his characteristic drift through the turn. Probably a good idea on the high banking.
4 to go at the green, Travis.
So high. 4 to go at the green. Thank you, Pete. Patrick Hall has Zdravko Deponiak right there in his mirrors with Nico Pantola behind, Ayub Elanouni in 4th. Sean Lee having an up and down day. Now in 5th position, the better of the Pixel Air Attack newsroom cars. As Patrick Hall picks up the pace, Zdravko Deponiak right there with him. Green flag, the two of them down to the white line. Patrick Hall probably wants to keep it kind of tight here. Let the draft come to him. He's got a little bit of a gap. 2 cars running line astern. That's Ayub and Nico Pantola in 3rd and 4th position with a bit of a gap to the next car behind them, Sean Lee. This is going to be 2 by 2 by 2 behind.
What a dream for the 2 up front.
And Patrick Hall. Yeah, absolutely perfect. These 2 have a shootout, just a little bit of a gap to Nico Pantola. Nico might be able to catch if he and Ayub work together really well. But right now, this is looking to be a shootout between Patrick Hall and Zdravko Deponiak. Zdravko going to go low. He's already defending. He knows there's only a couple laps left, so he wants to do the best he can to secure this position, but he needs to be mindful of the cars behind running in the draft. Ayub and Nico will be able to draft up to them if they keep defending like this. It's going to be really close. 3 laps to go now. Patrick Hall in the lead. Zdravko Deponiak behind. Looking for the win of this race, the Oval Master, after falling all the way off the lead lap in the very back. He's in the catbird seat. Pete, they're going to come around to start. 2 laps to go through the 3rd and 4th turn.
Travis, my palms are sweating. If Zdravko Deponiak wins this, I think we're both going to go absolutely nuts because that would be ridiculous. These 2 behind are looking to spoil his day. They've got to absolutely nail every single point on this racetrack. 2 laps to go, 2 circuits around Rockingham Oval. Oh my goodness me, this is an exciting finish.
Yeah, Ayub has a chance to atone for the mistake he made earlier. They're not too far off, but it might be just a little bit too far away with only 2 laps remaining. That gap of 0.6 seconds is just outside of the slipstream, so they need a miscue from Zdravko and Patrick to catch up just a little bit far behind, and Zdravko knows that he can work the racetrack to break the slipstream with Nico behind, while he's also working with Patrick Hall to keep the pace as high as they need to go, coming around through the 4th turn one more time. Patrick Hall in his slipstream as they come across the line.
Yeah,
Patrick Hall keeping it down.
Our timing will reset here. We're on the final lap, so we're going to get 1 lap to go. And there we go. We have 1 lap to go.
We do. So on the final lap, coming through turn 2 right now, Nico Pantola and Ayub Elanouni are going to be too far behind Patrick Hall and Zdravko Deponiak in a shootout. On the final lap of the race, Patrick Hall has a look to the inside. Zdravko Deponiak defending as low as he possibly can. Going to force Patrick Hall all the way down to the apron in the grass. Zdravko Deponiak going to need to tuck in behind the slipstream. He wants to find a way around. He needs the momentum, but I don't know that he has it. It's going to be really close across the line. Patrick Hall gets it just barely. Zdravko Deponiak, oh, he nearly had it done. He defended that position, but Patrick Hall made the brave move all the way down to the grass, managed to stick it, kept it on the apron, kept the car under control, and wins the race. Oh, he had it done with Ayub, and then it looked like it all went away when the Oval Master caught up to him. and it just wasn't enough. Patrick Hall, a well-earned victory for race green. Zdravko Deponiak gave it everything. 0.05 of a second behind in second position. Ronnie Kronpush, Pete, rounds out the podium in third. He sailed by everybody on the final laps to put 2 race green cars up in the top 3. What a race.
Yeah, I want to bring to your attention the fact that Nika Pantola finished in P11. He was in the wall at the final corner. We cut away to it briefly, but then had to go back to the leaders crossing the line. But Nico had a shocking final corner. There was a big accident actually, which has brought Ronnie Krompush back onto the podium. So 2 cars that were a lap down have finished on the podium, and Sean Lee comes home in P4. Race Control are going to have a lot to think about at the end of this race. Because of all the drama that's happened in those final moments. But, you know, we can't take anything away from Patrick Hall. What a drive. Thoroughly deserved. And Topolniak, he'll be a bit annoyed that he didn't get the win, of course, but he can be happy with that. Come on.
Yeah, he gave it everything he had, but Patrick Hall, like that, it feels bad to have it under control and then it get away from you like that. But he kept his head in it, he kept his foot in it. He was where he needed to be, and he went toe to toe with Zdravko Deponiak, the very best, and absolutely earned that win. No discredit to Zdravko. He drove a mighty race to recover from the very back. Ronnie Kronpush there in third, as we got the results on the screen now. Sean Lee manages to finish fourth. He had, I think I dare say, he had a wild day, off the lead lap at least once, I believe. A couple accidents, manages to finish fourth. Ayub, I think, will be frustrated. He salvaged a fifth position after he had it all settled with Patrick Hall at the front. It looked like he was on for a P1 or a P2. Pali Peltagongas in sixth position. Dan Bala in seventh. Bazadar Villanov in eighth. Timo Soni in ninth. We've got Masya in 10th. Nico Pantola was clearly frustrated at the end of the race. He immediately disconnected when he crossed the line in 11th position, was running near the front, and came off there at the very end in a last lap accident. Karula in 12th position. Seamus Taukavicius, he appeared to have a pretty difficult day of it, finishing in 13th. Jared Mead in 14th, Kai Piro in 15th. And then the championship leaders, Gabor in 16th and Yoni Katila, the first car out of the race, in 17th. The championship will stay more or less even at the top, with the two of them finishing at the very back, Pete.
Yeah, thank you for that rundown, Travis. What a super race. We have an interview lined up, and it is none other than Zdravko Topolniak. Zdravko, what a day. I mean, what were your thoughts going through the final corner when you pushed Patrick low and you tried to get that cutback at the end and it just didn't work out? What are your thoughts after that race?
Not again.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's a bit of history. Last time that I had an oval race where I crashed out in first few laps was a lap behind everybody else, last in the field, and managed to unlap myself. Went to the back of the went to the front of the field. I lost to Patrick.
Oh, no. So Patrick is your bugbear, but you have to be. I know, like, going back to front like that and being in the catbird seat to win, you have to be pretty happy that you managed to recover so well. And talk about Patrick's driving. He had it all figured out in front with Ayub, and then it went wrong with the two of them coming together somehow. A great drive from him. You gave him everything you had.
Yeah, I didn't want a good race as this to end in the crash, so I had a limit how far I will push him. He wished it more, so congrats to him for getting it.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, we certainly enjoyed your comeback through the field. It did appear as though when you caught up to the pack, you managed to just tear straight through them as if they weren't there to get to the front. Was that a? And also, you came into the pit lane at a strange time too. What was there? Was there some fuel strategy going on there?
No, I started with full tank of fuel.
Okay.
But then when I repaired the car on, like, I don't know, was it lap 3 or 4, I added 15%, but I was not exactly sure if that's enough, and my adrenaline was too high to do quick maths. So when the safety car came, I just saw opportunity to. When I unlapped myself, there was space to do another pit stop and to refuel just to be safe. So yeah, I ended the race with 30% of fuel, so it wasn't needed. But yeah, there was space to stop for fuel, so why not?
So speaking of coming through that pack, we noticed that you were trying to run with Nico, and Nico, obviously an experienced oval racer. You guys have gone around so many times, but it looked like it was a bit challenging running with Seamus Takavicius. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, challenging is a good word. I think it would be good for him to check replay of this race, see how other people draw in free car drafts. Maybe he can learn something from it. I think we were slower with him than without him. So I think he was very afraid that he will lose our draft, and that made him like go into draft zone early. So he didn't get enough speed running up, so he was overtaking too fast, or he was overtaking when it was better just to stay behind and not do like this track is a weird one. It's not easy to do a free car draft. We were training a bit and we realized that in a free car situation, it's best for third car to just hold back in first and last turn and just use it in the middle part of the track. And I guess not everybody has the same strategy in mind, and he didn't work good with ours. So we tried to lose him. I'll admit it. We weren't really. We closed him off. We went low, but he was good enough that we weren't able to lose him. So at one point we just decided let's just run with him and see what happens. Silently we were praying for a safety car to get us back to Patrick and Ayub, because we knew we had the speed to compete with them.
Fair enough. Thanks for that insight. We guessed that was the case, that you would try to lose them sometime in the middle of the race. And I want to ask you about one more competitor too, because we value your insight. Ayub Elanuni. We do not know him to be a regular or very strong oval driver, but he ran brilliantly at the front. It looked like he had figured out the draft pretty well. He was running well with Patrick until something went wrong there. We'll have to ask him about that if we get a chance. But then when you guys had the 4-car pack at the front, he did exactly what you had just suggested. He hung around at the back. He kept the draft. He moved with whoever came to the back of the line. It looked like a really good drive from him. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on Ayub.
I drove many oval races with him. He's an awesome guy. Once me and Nico came to top 4, I just told him, well, we can be happy. It's Patrick and Ayub. They know what they're doing. And I think he was saving fuel. Nico was also saving fuel a bit, because it was marginal. I think on full throttle there was enough fuel for like 95 laps. I'm not sure if Ayub pitted or no, but yeah, saving fuel without pitting is kinda a must-have.
Well, thank you very much for your time and insights, and congrats on a well-deserved podium there, Zdravko. Didn't go all your way today, but are you looking forward to the last couple of rounds of LFSCART Light 2021?
Yeah, sure I am.
Brilliant. Well, we hope to see you in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks again for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah.
Let's get a quick word, Travis, with Sean Lee, who, yeah, it's a tumultuous race, that, Sean. P4 in the end. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it wasn't the best race, I guess, like in terms of the car pace. Both, I think, you could see from the start that me and Kalkivicius, we both had a very fast car, and our race setup was really quick.
Yeah, for sure. It didn't quite go his way. I think he was waiting for you to kind of catch up through the field so that you two could work together again, because certainly for the first few laps, maybe the first 5 laps, you had the lead sealed.
Yeah, but I think he's slightly less. I'm also not as experiencing oval as the rest of the guys, but I guess I picked it up quite quickly. I think got wiped out in the opening lap shunt. I think Belanov went up the inside of somebody and caused like 5 cars to spin. I was lucky because I think I got nuked by who was that? Who was the championship leader again?
Yoni Katila before this run.
Yes, he landed on my head, and my car very nearly
Yeah,
went
we saw
underground.
that. It was rather destroyed. You were lucky. Tell us, did you manage to get into the pit lane, repair, and out on the lead lap, or did you lose a lap?
Yeah, I managed to land on my wheel, so I took to the pit lane. But because I knew that I would come out left because the repair was at 40 seconds,
Yeah.
so I just overtook people on the slow lane. That means going down into the pit lane, I just passed them. That's why I got the drive through. But at least I stayed on the lead lap. So I guess you could say it was all part of the plan.
Fair enough. Well, that's cheeky, but if it works, it works.
And
Yeah, P4 in the end. So you managed to catch up and carve back through pretty effectively. It got pretty dicey, and you were involved in so many different packs. What is that like as you're driving through, working with? You have to react so quickly, surely, to work with different people. And yeah, you ended up in P4 after that last lap incident.
yeah, coming from someone who only has done one previous oval race where I spun out, it was really just reading the car. Thankfully, I had a good setup. In the start, it was really messy, but like people with like Botsy and who was that? Ronnie, they were really good, experienced guys who were able to they showed me where to pass and they opened the gap up. And yeah, at some point, I had to pick for fuel, so I went in for a pit stop. But then I realized I came out in the in my teammate, the huge truly train, and I was reading each car, like the behavior of each car, and I noticed that him and Gabor had very loose rear ends. So if you saw me on the broadcast going to the pit lane for the second time, that was not a scheduled pit stop. I just went in to put 1% of fuel in just to drop to the back, because after that the power happened. So I foresaw that would happen. So yeah, pretty lucky strategy.
Yeah, pretty radical. I mean, I don't think, Travis, have you heard of anyone doing that deliberately to predict an incident?
No, I sure. This is the first I've heard of somebody deliberately taking a drive-through penalty. Though I'll give you credit, that is pretty smart to take the drive-through penalty to stay on the lead lap, and then dropping to the back to capitalize on carnage. Though we guessed a few times that it might happen, so I think that was a pretty calculated risk, Sean.
Yeah, the drive-through was because of the passing under the safety car, under the apron going to the pit lane. But then the second pit stop was right in the middle of the race, and after that, I was just trying to figure out. At the end, there was this massive cluster of cars, like 7 cars with Baranov and my teammate, and I think they got wiped out because they were like fighting as if it was the final lap. And I believe if you asked anyone who was in that battle, that was really chaotic. And in the end, yeah, congrats to Ronnie. He got on the podium because I think Ayub and Nico just spun out at the end. So yeah, very close, but there's always next race.
Yeah, 2 rounds to go in the championship. Best of luck for those, Sean. Thanks for having a word with us, and we'll let you get back to your day. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Sean Lee there for Pixel Air Attack Racing. Travis, give me a summary before we close out for today.
My summary is that my heart rate has just come down. We expected Zdravko Toponiak would finish strongly. It's a shame that he just came up a hair's breadth short, but he put on a great show for us. Going back to front after that early incident. Patrick Hall, I think. I don't know that we would have predicted a win from Patrick Hall. I think we expected the championship leaders to fight near the front and run with guys like Nico Matola and Zdravko Toponiak. But Patrick Hall, experienced oval driver he is, that I now know, really deserved to take that win. And he did a good job keeping his head down after the race looked like it was going to get away from him and make it a lot more difficult. So he earned that. Great drive from him. Smart driving from Ayub too, to stay out of trouble and run near the front. It's a shame that he and Nico got together at the end. Nico was clearly pretty frustrated because he bounced out of the server really quickly. But good drive from Ayub. That was exciting. I would happily do that again. I hope we see another LFSCART Light series featuring an oval race after this one concludes.
I echo that sentiment again, Travis. Thank you very much. That is Rockingham Oval done, and with it, round 3 of the 2021 season of LFSCART Light. Join us next time on September the 26th for South City Town Course. Oh my goodness! So yeah, they've had a lot of runoff, a lot of width, and then we're going to South City where there's basically none of that. It's going to be wild, and we hope you can join us for it. Thanks again to our race direction and race control team, Tila Falkenberg, bringing you all the directing the race stewards and race control today. So thanks to him, and thanks to you, Travis, for joining me in the commentary box once again. I've been Peter Butcher. You've been watching Sim Broadcast. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you can join us next time for another round of LFS Kart Light in Live for Speed. From all of us here to all of you, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.